Welcome to this week's BTO talk on generative AI, AI, digital transformation, and a lot more. My name is Michael Alf, calling from Lisbon, where I just returned from a 6 countries. What is it? 6 countries, 4 days, 3 clients trip. Here, some interesting and all-around AI and generative AI. So very exciting to share some of that. But first of all, handing over to my partners, Markus.
Hello. Welcome from Singapore. I'm Markus Keiper, professor at the National University of Singapore in marketing and co-founding partner of Beyond the Obvious, where we help you to get ahead in the game of generative AI. And I'm very much looking forward to our conversation today. Over to you, Rob.
Yes, thanks, Markus. Rob Thurner here, third partner with Beyond the Obvious, based in London, and working with Cambridge Judge Business School on their digital transformation program, and a host, I think, this week for Michael, who came to our shores for a brief visit for a client meeting we set up. So great to see you all today, and look forward to our discussion. So Michael, kick us off then, if you will, with any tech news which is relevant that leads into the rest of our conversation.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, and indeed we have something. It was a great pleasure to be in London for this client workshop. Actually, it was so nice to be in a country where I really speak the language, and not everything is foreign. I really enjoyed that because I live in Portugal, so I don't speak Portuguese. I was in Italy as well, don't speak Italian, so it's all very foreign. And suddenly you actually can understand all the conversations, parallel conversations, everything. So it was a really nice other kind of experience. And then I had a workshop in a session in Germany. Again, of course, that's even easier. So that was a positive one. This workshop in London with Rob, with you, was on agentic systems. And fitting to that, OpenAI just launched a new agent SDK. I just need to kind of have a look here. It's an agent SDK, software development kit, which means they help organizations to faster develop and deploy agents, especially in a customer service. So that's a very interesting space, and there's a lot of dynamic. It's still a very early and challenging topic, and a topic where there's a lot of hype. So everyone talks about these fully autonomous agents. And one of the questions was, do you really want to have a fully autonomous agents? Something where you don't know what it does or not does. Yeah, exactly. So this is a huge discussion around autonomy and others. Clear is the agent topic gains momentum, and so I'm sure we'll come back to that in the future as well. But before that, I think we have other topics. There was this acronym, Rob, in this workshop, and so maybe let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so we were looking at the developing some workflows for different parts of this client's business. And one of the acronyms that appeared alongside some very familiar ones around process management and improving relationships with the customer, ROI certainly made it on there. So did COI. I was thinking, what's COI? Central Office of Information, maybe? No. Cost of inaction. That's just an interesting one. So cost of inaction, what does that really mean? I mean, in their case, it was the cost of a business not taking full advantage of the network's capabilities, and calculated in terms of how much potential efficiency gain they were not enjoying, some performance criteria. Cost of inaction got me thinking, actually, this is a concept that we often see used by consultants in their sales process to get you thinking, you really need to step up and do something now. But in this case, linked specifically to part of the business and the functions that they were serving, and seemed to be right at the heart of their thinking. So it's an interesting concept. It can be used in other ways. Markus, how would you see cost of inaction playing in the work that you're doing with your clients?
Well, first of all, it really sounds like a typical consulting sentence, like you really have to get active, and otherwise you will fall behind the competition in no time, and the market shares will drop, and the customers will leave very bad reviews. So You made me think. I mean, the first one I think about is me. What does it mean for me, or me as a person? Cost of inaction. The second would be, what does it mean for us as an organization? And the third element, and it's a typical academic approach now, is what does it mean for our customers? So cost of inaction for me means that obviously if I don't listen to these conversations, not only with us, but anyone, and if I'm not getting involved, I probably will fall behind, and I might actually not be suitable for a job in the future, in the worst case. Cost for us as an organization means we are not as efficient, maybe not as professional, and we might not be well perceived as tech leaders in a GenAI or AI world. And cost for customers, I think I will put over to Michael what it means, because the customers eventually pay all of our bills and our pays. So cost of inaction sounds interesting. Michael, what do you make of it?
Thank you. I love these kind of three layers, Markus, you spoke about, the different angles to look at it. And indeed, on each of these levels, it's relevant. In the AI context or generative AI context, I would add, again, another perspective. So the cost of inaction. So you could see it in two ways. One is, it's a really interesting one. Given the speed of development of the models and the qualitative improvements, it's almost positive to wait. Yeah, because you get more and better for less in a relatively short period of time. So that's actually quite interesting. So you need to be careful how much you already invest into something which is almost kind of obsolete a little bit later, maybe 6 to 12 months. So it doesn't really matter how long it is. That's an interesting one. There are examples where organizations spend millions on something, and then with the next iteration of one of the models, which that came out of the box suddenly. So that indicates sometimes it's better to wait. Yeah, it's like with buying a television. I mean, do you buying the big one or the one smaller, because it's so much cheaper, and then next year you get the big one for the same money. I know environmentally is not a good thing. So, but I'm saying, to illustrate that. The other side is the human side. And that's what we see in our workshops. So yeah, we have been, the whole week with clients. And this is an interesting one because it takes time to build up capabilities and experience. It is not about watching some YouTube videos. That's not how it works. Yeah, we see that in our workshops. Even people who are quite sophisticated and heavy users of some of the tools, they sometimes don't understand the principles and the limitations and the risks. So you have that, and it takes time, as with all skills for humans. It is over time. You grow this expertise. You connect all the questions, the terms, the contents. So for me, of course, when I read now an article, even a very sophisticated article, it's relatively easy because I have so much linkage points. So to embed that into my overall. Where someone who hears that the first time and then hears, okay, hallucination means, it doesn't work. Can't assess that properly. So I hope that makes sense. And maybe Rob, over to you, kind of, how is that resonating, these two things? One is almost slowing down, and the other one is more accelerating because it takes so long time to actually upskill your employees.
Yeah, I sort of go back to previous revolutions. If I go back to the mobile days, there was a sense that we should all be jumping in and building the very latest solution. And the payments analogy was interesting. Do we just jump in and build the very latest payments gateway, or do we think, no, let's wait and see how others are doing it? And there's a lot to be said for going slow before you go fast. This is a concept you're probably familiar with, and building up your base layer of understanding. But also, and it's so clear, and I'm seeing this more and more in the workshops, that even if you have pockets of expertise, if that isn't shared across the group, then that collective learning, collective intelligence is completely missed. So we need to level up and bring others who don't have that base level of knowledge up to speed, and then the whole team can accelerate together, rather than missing out on some interesting opportunities that would be gained if they were all moving at the same speed. So Michael, I'm impressed always by the way you're explaining some of these concepts and tying together some of these themes, and over time, I'm sure that's going to be hugely valuable for our clients as we share the word. It got me thinking about another concept though, and it's basic principle of how we can be democratizing and making it easy for different people around the business to build a sense of ownership, but also encourage a bottom-up approach to developing their ideas, their workflows, their strategies. And Markus, there's an example that I know you're working on right now where this is very much at the forefront of their approach. Do you want to fill in the gaps there?
Yeah, that is a very exciting topic, which really keeps me busy and thinking, democratizing knowledge and maybe almost inverting the hierarchy in an organization. I'll give you an example. So strategy, how is strategy developed? Usually someone on the top, usually starting with a C and maybe followed by EO. CEO starts, what is the strategy for the next year or the next 3 years, maximum 5 years nowadays? And then it basically gets percolated through the organization, like the next level, and then you pass it on to the next level. Pretty much top down, what you think. So we try to apply this, but in an inverted way for a complete new education approach, where the teams have to, these are leadership teams, they have to work on projects. And how do you come up with the topics for 5 projects in a group of 25 people? So originally, you would say the CEO or the C-suite and the strategy department have to decide the topics, and then the people have to execute them, right? That's how it has been done in the past. If you apply generative AI as an enabler now, you could say, yes, let the CEO and the strategy department identify aligned topics, let's say 5 areas of challenges for our business. But now you allow the 25 people to ideate, come up with new with ideas, and if they have 1 idea, it's 25 ideas. If they have 3 ideas, it's 75 ideas. In the past, we would not have done that, Michael and Rob, because it would have taken too much time to align these 75 topics. Now you use GenAI. You give it the right criteria. You say, for each of these areas, these are the top criteria we need to hit in order to make this the most impactful project for the organization. This is how we will measure success. Here are the proposed topics, and come up with the 2 best topics and merge all together if you can. And guess what? GenAI will do that within seconds. Now you can discuss that, and you can allocate the best people. Now you have a completely aligned project portfolio with topics which came from the top, but actually the really meat on the project came from the participants. Time and cost of this process, Michael, what is it, 5 minutes, maybe? Of course, you have to you prompt it, and you learned it from us, how to prompt engineer and do it the right way. But the output comes within 5 to 10 minutes, which means you will impress everyone how efficiently you have produced this. And it's democratic. It is a bottom-up approach, and we believe, yes, we understand the 5 key areas and challenges, but here are the key topics we see on the ground, for example. We will test this from now on, and a lot more examples you will hear from us over the next couple of months, how you actually can use GenAI to really impress in your organization and deliver results. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Rob and Markus. Yeah, a great example. Yeah, and I think a lot is changing. Slowly but surely, because people need to embrace that and use that. And the example you just gave is another way of what we had in the workshop on these agentic workflows. So parallelizing actually some of the work and then helping with an agent in the next step to consolidate and pull out kind of the key results and things like that. Great example for that. I think the message here is also agentic is super important, is growing in importance. If that's new to you or your organization, please reach out. So we can help there as well with workshops, but also with the implementation, with the change approach. There's another huge topic which is looming at the horizon, is actually how do you lead then these new hybrid organizations. We'll talk about that in the future a lot more. But we also will probably share maybe in the next time some of these ideas around the workflows. There's an interesting Stanford study, a latest one, which talks about kind of this collaboration and the different forms. So we want to share some of these contents and put them always into very specific examples.
One question for you, Michael. Is there a book on agentic AI? Can you show it to us?
No, I think there's quite a few one which, and credit, of course, always to others as well. We are all together on the journey. This is Agentic Artificial Intelligence, and Pascal Barnett and a couple of co-authors. You see, it's a big book, and you see I'm working in it. Yeah.
So here's my advice.
Yeah.
You either listen to the book or read the book, or you listen to Michael, who has read the book for you.
Yes, and more than once, by the way, and a couple of other books and similar contents as well. Really consolidating, because what they are, it's developing directions. There's a lot of expertise, and we try to consolidate that. And I think what we really do with our clients, convert that into something they understand. Because for most people, if you read this book, that's too much. Yeah. So what we do is we simplify that, we bring that into a structure, with our expertise in executive education, and take you on this journey so that you then are able to actually implement that. So I think, well, thanks for that pointer and that question. With that, Rob, any closing comments?
Yeah, no, I think I'll just go back to the point about distilling information. Of course, the answer is not watching YouTube videos. The answer is not simply getting a summary of the book in 500 words, but knowing which bits to pick out and bringing it back to your real world challenges, and creating teams to work on applying those learnings to those particular problems is where we always find the best learning comes. It's not a case of just showing you how it's done. It's getting you to do it yourself, and all the evidence points in that direction. So thank you, Michael. Thanks for sharing the contents of that book. Markus, as always, thanks for your reflections, and thanks to all of you for joining us this week. We look forward to seeing you next time. For now, enjoy your week.
And join our community. Take care. Bye-bye.
You're a rapper too. It sounds like there's a budgerigar in the background.
Yeah, so the new Thailand birds.
It's a lot of nature here, trust me. From snakes to large spiders to frogs to a lot of animals I don't want to see necessarily. Yeah.
And they all live in your house, or?
Absolutely, in and around. Yes, these are the surprises we have here. Yeah, but
nice.
You get what you pay for.
and you move your stuff in July.
Well, it will take 4 to 6 weeks to arrive, because you would think that Singapore to an island in nearby is a straight line, but it's not, because it doesn't go to the island. It has to go to Bangkok, and then from Bangkok to there.